Blessed day, everybody. Welcome to What the Boot. And this video is meant to serve as an introduction as to what you can expect when it comes to hiking at Marine Corps Boot Camp Paris Island. All right, this is my personal experiences and just meant to kind of familiarize you if you're planning on going into boot camp, or if you are a loved one or someone who's just trying to understand things into that world a little bit. And hopefully this video serves that purpose. All right, let's just go over it. What is hiking, or otherwise known as a hump, and what its purpose is. All right, it is basically, in a nutshell, it's the same thing as marching. It's meant to be the movement of troops in an orderly manner from point A to point B, just that you're now carrying weight. All right, now think of the American Civil War, that you have whole armies basically marching to location. They're also humping, but it's just marching there. And as well as like the Roman army or armies of the past, all that marching, basically, it's marching, but it's hiking as well. All right, so that's kind of just like to get that understanding there. The In boot camp, there's going to be five. There'll be 5 times that you're going to be hiking. Now that's going to be in week 2, week 3, week 6, and week 7. All right, week 2 is going to be your 5K. That's basically a 3-mile hike. All right, now that's going to be the one with the lightest load. Now, if I remember correctly, we had obviously our rifles and a day pack, and we went on a 5K hike. Then it's going to be in week 3. That's going to be your 8K. This is going to be bumping it up to a 5-mile hike, so on and so forth. What it's meant is it's going to progressively get longer, and you're progressively put more weight on. All right. Week 6, that's where you're going to have your 10K hike. That's a 6-mile walk. Then come week 7, you're going to have your 12K, or roughly 7.5 miles long. And then your final hike is not going to really be a continuous all-in-one-go hike. It's going to be a hike. It's going to be a cumulative hike. So during the crucible, you're going to be hiking everywhere. You're not going to get very much sleep. You're going to barely get enough time to eat, let alone enough to eat. And cumulatively, you're going to have about a 15K or 9.3 miles. That's about how much distance you're going to have walked during the crucible. So that's just kind of letting you know when you can expect the hike's going to come in, and what you expect. Remember, everything's going to be progressively getting heavier and heavier. All right, and then by the end of it, you're wearing your Kevlar full kit and just going around doing everything. Now, in the Marine Corps, hiking is meant to has about 4 purposes in it. Okay. The first one is to build physical and mental endurance. You may not at first think much of it, but do go on a hike, put on some weight, and just continue to push yourself and walk. It gets a little bit harder than you'd think. You're just having to persevere and push yourself, and it takes a lot of mental fortitude to really push yourself in that and progress and keep going. And when you really want to drop out, you want to just give up, but you got to stay in there, because he hasn't fallen out, she hasn't fallen out yet, and you just got to keep pushing, because you don't want to abandon everybody. Because guess what happens when you drop out? All that gear that you're wearing doesn't get left behind. It gets picked up, distributed amongst everybody else, gets put on there. Now, mind you, that's going to kind of be more of in the fleet as well. But if I'm not mistaken, I don't really remember them distributing the weight in boot camp, but I do know that in the fleet, that's what you can expect. All right. Now, this kind of just going over that in generality when it comes to hikes, but it's to build up your physical, because it's not easy to carry a bunch of weight and just keep walking. All right. And then also in that mental endurance, it will mentally drain you. It is not easy. Some people, it's easy. It's like walking a park, no big deal. But when you're having to do it and you're having all this weight and you got to keep up and you got to keep these gaps going and whatnot, it will take a lot more, and it will build your mental toughness as well as your physical. Definitely your physical. The more often you do it, you'd be surprised at just how much you gain out of it. But mentally, it makes all the difference in the world in the mental game, because everything's mental. But then you get used to being uncomfortable. You get used to this, just like, this sucks. I want to quit. And then you keep walking. Then you get to the point where if someone else starts to pull the ball out, you probably will have the most disdain for that person in the world. And you'll probably start looking down on them, or have them just like, you'll treat it not really as a look down, but more like a betrayal. Because you don't, I haven't quit. I'm not, and I'll be damned if I'm going to, blessed be the Lord. Lord have mercy on me if I was to drop out and let all my gear get picked up and dropped out amongst all the other Marines there. Now they, who already have dealing with the weight that they're dealing with, and already having to deal with their own problem with that mentality of having to deal with this, now they have to share more weight because you can't carry your share of the weight. Let's be honest. Who's ever been at work and you're kind of like, yo, man, why don't you pick up your slack? And next thing you know, because they don't pick up your slack, you have to work harder to make up for the fact that he's not doing it or she's not doing it. And it's very much like that. And it's a mental pressure that you don't want to do. Plus, you're part of an establishment, an institution of Marines who have gone in the past, who have done worse than you, gone through more than you, and you're just going to let a simple little hike stop you. Like, really? Like, for me, I didn't fall out of a single hike. One, partially because I was scared, because my seniors actually made me freaking actually petrified of them for a little while. Now, the other thing is meant to work on your teamwork. That's the second purpose behind it. You actually, maybe it's an encouragement, the sense of camaraderie. You guys are all enduring this. It sucks. It's nothing like to bring people together than having to all persevere through something that was tough, challenging, and just it goes beyond what you're really expecting. You're not looking forward to it, but you guys persevered nonetheless. But this is something that you all achieved together as a unit. And then if you're, particularly when you're talking about squads or platoons, you look at the other platoon and you see that they had one guy fall out, two guys fall out, or heck, they couldn't keep their formation together. Oh, the smack talk that comes out of your mouth. You think, oh, I don't do that. Yeah, right. You think you don't. You think you're gonna talk smack now? You'll learn real quick. You'll have this identity of that we as a team are an entity of it in itself, and you have to represent that platoon, your squad, your team. You're not an individual really anymore. You're an individual Marine, but you're part of your team, and then that team's part of a squad, and that squad becomes part of your identity, and that platoon and that company. And you can't tolerate the idea that your company is being outdone by another group. Internally, it's whatever, but that group, no. I ain't gonna lose it to them. Now, and then on top of that, now comes to the third part, combat readiness. All that physical and that mental endurance and that teamwork building from all of that helps and encourages and fosters combat readiness. You have a sense of having your stuff in order. You know that you're willing, you know the people to your left and to your right will have your back. They'll watch your back, and they're not going to just give up on you. And those who do, you kind of already are leery of them. But even then, some of them, they can't help but want to make up for that. But it's that combat readiness. You're able to persevere and endure. You go into austere areas, and you're just going to be that stubborn mule who just doesn't know the meaning of, I ain't giving you this position. I'll be damned if I'm going to surrender it to you. And unless I'm told I got to pull out, I ain't going anywhere. Come take it. I dare you. And then on top of that, I might just, you know what? I'm going to go take what you got. Look at Belleau Wood. That's part of our history. They held the line, stopped the German advance, and then they charged in, took Belleau Wood, and then they fought off several assaults by the German army. If that's not physical and mentally enduring, an astronomical amount of teamwork, and then all that combat readiness, because the Marine Corps is always about trying to be relevant, it accumulates like that. And like I'm saying, that part 4 of the whole thing is what I just said. It's a link to the Marines of the past. You, as a Marine, or you're going to be a Marine, that is your history. That is part of what it is. You're joining. That's that institution that becomes part of your identity. Smithley Butler, Archibald Henderson, General Lejeune. Victor Krulak. You know, the Marines have a history. You know, it was a Chesty Puller. That's psycho. Freaking proud of him. You think you become it. It's like, you know, you get surrounded by a bunch of Chinese in North Korea, and guys left to the right, to the front, and to our back. He goes, they can't get away from us now. And that's the kind of thinking that you are part of, or you are going to become part of. It is an entire establishment, an institution, a brotherhood and sisterhood that has a illustrious history of going into areas and bringing back victory, going into no-win situations and bringing back victory. You know, we have the reputation we have for a reason. You got to remember that. And if you're joining in, all right. Now, the last part I want to go over is some tips that, one, will help you in boot camp, and two, will help you when it comes to hiking, period. All right. Now, tip number one is don't run. Don't run. And now what I mean is, you'll notice when you go on hikes, there's these times when you got ranks, and then I know there are gaps starts to form. Don't run. Lengthen your stride. Take bigger steps. If you're shorter, this is specifically for you. You guys are generally the ones who usually start this slinky effect. It's called the slinky effect, is when you end up with this case where it starts to get in the gap and the guy quickly closes it, and it has a cascading effect. Just lengthen your stride. Do not run. Do not hop around. Do not do freaking a double time. No, just lengthen your stride, close that gap, and keep it tight. Keep it tight, keep it tight, keep it tight. Always make sure you have that freaking pack, always within arm's reach, always within arm's reach, always within arm's reach. Why do I say that? Because it's extremely important you do that in hiking. Just for you, it will mentally start to degrade you if you suddenly start watching that gap happen. But if you get in your head like, oh, I don't have to run, I just gotta bigger step, bigger step, bigger step, bigger step, and it will take less energy. If you go running, you will wear yourself out and wear everybody else out, and in boot camp, that's going to suck. Plus, in boot camp, you're going to have a drill instructor getting it all up in your face, and then he's going to take the time to learn who you are. If you have been laying low under the radar, but then you're the one who hates making a gap form, well, guess what? Now you have given him a reason, or her a reason, to know who you are and make a distinctive point of their eyes are always going to gravitate towards you. Like, oh, there he is. And I don't just tell me like, oh, you don't do that yourself. You do that. You know that one person. The moment they show up, you don't even know his name really, but you know who he is as soon as he shows up. Or when she shows up, your eyes just immediately just whoop. Yeah, I just said, oh, I'm just betting right there. Something's going to happen. All right. Another thing, no matter what, do not fall out. All right. If you fall as a heat case, it's just now it's going to be you're just more susceptible to it. All right. But if it's better yet, actually, it's just better if you pass out as a fallout, that's fine. It's better that you passed out and you pushed yourself beyond your ability that your body couldn't do. That is to be respected. That's honored. That's respected. All right, you're still gonna get some gripe for it, but hey, it's gonna be kind of a bragging thing. Like, I didn't quit, dude. I had to pass out to be stopped. That's what it took. But don't quit. Don't go, oh, I can't do it anymore. Guess what? You're gonna pick up your pack because the drill instructor ain't gonna let you do it. You know what? No. Now remember, they ain't gonna let you distribute it. You're gonna carry the God blessed thing. You will eventually get it there. Now you might be in some cases where you completely quit, and then you're considered pathetic, and then you're always gonna have to deal with that if you even make it at a boot camp at that point, because at that point, should you even be there? But don't fall out, no matter what. If that's one thing you have in your mind, that's one thing. I may be a screw up here, but I ain't gonna fall out on no God blessed hike. Now another thing is hydrate. Hydrate. Oh, I don't even want to drink. Drink water. It takes 2 to 5 days to get really properly hydrated for a hike. And at boot camp, it ain't always going to be easy to stay hydrated, especially when it's hot or even when it's cold in particular. When it's cold, drink. Yeah, I'm not thirsty. Drink the God blessed water, because you will pay for it, and pay for it dearly on a hike. When it's hot, it sucks. When it's cold, it's perhaps the only time you're actually appreciating the fact that your body is really hot, because now you have something kind of regulated. It'll also affect you when you're out into the fleet as well. All right. And also, just as a side note, and a little last thing, when it comes to just hiking, if you have electrolytes or like Pedialyte or Kinderlite, don't drink it straight. Now, this is not going to be really relevant when it comes to boot camp, because when it comes to canteens, you're not allowed to have anything other than water in it, and there's a lot of reasons for it. You put drink mix into it, electrolytes into it, and that will draw. Usually has some kind of sugar in it or whatnot, and that will foster an environment where you end up with molding in your canteens. And then if you end up with molding, you end up with sick marines. Sick marines ends up with marines down. That means you're taking away from training, costs money, so on and so forth. So it's more efficient for the Corps simply to make it straight on water, only water. That's what you get. If you're desperate for electrolytes, you can take some salt packs, stuff that in there. Ain't gonna get no freaking mold from that. If you really are desperate for something like that, or then you put it in there, take this stuff as a shot, and then you put some more, and then that will help you retain more water, sodium, right? But if you take Pedialyte or Kinderlite or something like that, and you're drinking it straight and concentrated like it is out of a bottle, that will actually run you the risk of cramping your muscles. Now, I learned that almost the hard way, but if you dilute it or sip on it, that helps. And also, last note in regards to that, now I've said that part, when you're hiking, do not chug water. Do not chug any drink that you have. You will sip it. You sip it. That's it. Sip. You may be thirsty beyond belief, but you will sip that water. All right? It's only going to hydrate you only so fast. So it's better to just go little by little by little by little. All right? Now, if you're in the fleet and you've gone on a hike and whatnot, hey, it's going to take you a couple of days, and you got really dehydrated. It's going to take you a couple of days to really recover from that. And boot camp, you don't have much freedom, so it's best for you to stay on point. Make sure you're drinking your water. Make sure your fellow Marines, or rather fellow recruits, are drinking their water, and you look out for each other. Constantly look out for each other, even if you hate each other's guts. Even if you hate each other, it doesn't matter. The Marine Corps is not going to care. They won't care when you're in the fleet. They don't care when you're at boot camp. So look out for each other. All right. Now, I think I rattled off long enough as it is. And so hopefully this video is useful to you. Now, mind you, I did go up a little bit other than just staying on boot camp, but it's kind of relevant in boot camp as well as when you go to SOI and in the fleet when it comes to hiking. But that's kind of the generality of it in there. Y'all have a blessed day. If you have any questions, leave them down at the bottom in the comment section. Like this video, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a blessed day.